05:30 inches the morning. A Russian warship worth 500 million United States dollars prepared to unleash 8 Kalibr cruise missiles that could turn an entire city into ashes. Yet within minutes, this giant steel monster became nothing more than a burning carcass drifting helplessly in the middle of the sea. The culprit was not a submarine nor a fighter jet, 7 cheap unmanned aerial vehicles assembled from civilian components. How could these little steel bees bring down a symbol of military power? Hold tight, what you are about to see could rewrite history before your eyes. 05:30 inches the morning, Sea of Azov. The waves rolled in silence, the horizon painted in steel gray. Out there, cutting through the water like a blade, moved a Russian Buyan-M class corvette. Its value, $500 million. Its arsenal, 8 Kalibr cruise missiles, each one a city killer, each loaded with a 450-kilogram warhead and capable of striking targets more than 2,500 kilometers away. In less than 4 minutes, these weapons could turn entire neighborhoods into firestorms, leaving nothing but ash and silence. Inside the command deck, the crew whispered clipped commands. Fingers hovered over firing consoles. A green light pulsed on the targeting display. The entire ship hummed with readiness, radar arrays scanning, electronic warfare suites alive, the AK-630M, 2 twin-barrel 30mm cannons primed to spit out 10,000 rounds per minute. The vessel was a predator at sea, armored, armed, and assured of superiority. And yet, something invisible approached. Far beyond the radar's reach, 7 faint echoes rippled through the dawn air. They were not fighter jets, nor expensive stealth bombers. They were unmanned aerial vehicles, improvised but lethal, cobbled together with aluminum frames and electric motors. Ukraine called them Rybaka and Bobr. The sailors would later call them something else, nightmares in the sky. Each machine was a paradox, tiny in weight but massive in consequence. Rybaka drones, agile and fast, could push up to 432 kilometers per hour, their job to blind the ship's sensors. Bobr drones, slower at 200 kilometers per hour, carried warheads heavy enough to pierce steel plating. They skimmed just meters above the sea surface, hiding inside the radar's blind zones, moving like hunters in a storm. The ship did not see them, the crew did not hear them, not yet. A voice over the Ukrainian headset cut through static. Targets locked, steel bees unleashed. 7 dots crept closer on the operator screen. 7 against a $500 million war machine. The balance of power was about to shatter. The Ukrainian swarm came in low, hugging the surface of the Azov Sea, skimming through the mist just meters above the waves. 7 unmanned aerial vehicles broke into formation, black specks against the gray horizon, each one carrying the weight of a nation's defiance. At the tip of the spear were the Rybaka drones, agile machines pushing at 432 kilometers per hour, designed to cripple radar and punch open gaps in enemy defenses. Behind them followed the heavier Bobr drones, lumbering at 200 kilometers per hour but carrying devastating shape-charge warheads in their fuselages, warheads engineered to pierce through naval-grade steel plating and detonate deep inside a ship's core. Their target, the Russian Buyan-M class corvette, a $500 million warship preparing to unleash 8 Kalibr missiles on Ukrainian cities. In a dimly lit Ukrainian control bunker, an operator steadied his breath, eyes fixed on the glowing screen. "Take the eyes first," he whispered. "Then strike the heart." On board the Russian Buyan-M, the illusion of invulnerability cracked. The Podlet K-1 radar began to twitch, overwhelmed by sea clutter and phantom echoes. A frantic shout cut through the control room. "Contact! Multiple inbound!" Within seconds, the ship's Zu-23 autocannons roared to life, each barrel vomiting 23mm shells at 2,000 rounds per minute, a storm of fire lashing across the dawn. Tracers streaked orange and white, carving burning lines through the sky. The lead Ukrainian Rybaka twisted hard left, its lightweight frame jerking violently, but the Russian barrage connected. A violent flash, then silence. Shards of aluminum rained down into the sea. 1 Rybaka gone. But 6 drones pressed forward. The surviving Rybakas and Bobrs weaved unpredictably, guided by accelerometers and live human control. Their small electric motors whined faintly, easily drowned by the thunder of Russian guns. Too low for radar to track, too fast for fire control computers to predict. The swarm shifted every 2 seconds, forcing the ship's targeting systems into constant failure. A gunner cursed above the deafening barrage. They are too small, too fast. The AK-630M2 Gatling cannons spun up, spewing 10,000 tungsten rounds per minute, but always a fraction behind, chasing ghosts that no algorithm could catch. Against the Buyan-M's fortress of steel, the Ukrainian drones looked fragile, and yet their advance was unstoppable. The operator's voice, calm and final, cut across the radio. 1 down, 6 alive. The true confrontation had only begun. The swarm pressed on. The Russian Buyan-M corvette unleashed its most lethal shield, the Panzer M system, firing interceptors at blistering velocity. Each missile streaked upward, carrying a fragmentation warhead laced with 200 tungsten spheres, designed to shred drones in a 10-meter kill zone. On paper, it was unstoppable. In practice, there was one flaw. The Panzer's warheads carried a 1.2-second arming delay, a safety feature to avoid self-detonation. At 432 kilometers per hour, the lead Ukrainian Rybaka covered 144 meters in that gap of time. The operator saw the launch flares, shoved the stick forward, and dove straight toward the battery. Missiles screamed overhead, proximity fuses still dormant, unable to detonate. By the time they were armed, the Rybaka had already slipped beneath them. A second later, the drone leveled out at 5 meters and locked onto the towering Podlet K-1 radar, the ship's long-range eyes. With a final thrust, it slammed into the array. The shaped charge detonated, crushing a copper cone into a hypersonic jet. The beam tore through panels, processors, and operator stations. Sparks cascaded, screens went black, the Podlet gone. Before the crew could recover, the second Rybaka banked in, its lightweight body weaving past tracer fire. The target, the P-18 spoon rest radar, a relic but essential for tracking low-altitude threats. One impact and the antenna disintegrated into twisted shards. In 60 seconds, the corvette's vision collapsed. From a detection range of 200 kilometers, the ship's surveillance shrank to just 40. A $500 million war machine had become a blind battleship, drifting vulnerable in the open sea. Desperate, Russia unleashed everything. AK-630 Gatling guns spewing 10,000 rounds per minute, 400-watt jammers scrambling frequencies, clouds of metallic chaff filling the sky. Yet the drone shifted course every 2 seconds, slipping through defenses, mocking billion-dollar systems with hardware built for pennies. The Predator was blind, the steel bees still swarmed. The Russian Buyan-M corvette, already blinded by the loss of its Podlet K-1 and P-18 radars, staggered in confusion. The crew scrambled to reboot systems, voices overlapping in panic, but the swarm pressed closer. 2 Ukrainian Bobr drones, slower but carrying devastating payloads, locked onto their final approach vectors. The first Bobr skimmed the waves, then climbed, its camera locking onto the ship's towering main radar mast. At 200 meters, the operator switched to manual control, weaving through tracer fire. The ship's AK-630 Gatling cannons, firing 10,000 rounds per minute, thundered in desperation, but the drone shifted course every 2 seconds, leaving fire control computers chasing ghosts. Then it hit. The shaped charge detonated, unleashing the Monroe effect, a copper cone collapsing into a molten jet moving at 7,000 meters per second. The blast punched through the antenna array, processing units, and operator consoles. Circuits vaporized. Screens went dark. Every communication channel died. The Buyan-M's electronic brain was gone in an instant. Seconds later, the second Bobr descended on the port side, aiming directly at the Kalibr missile magazine. The impact was surgical. The warhead ripped into the compartment where fuel lines, hydraulic pumps, and safety interlocks converged. Hydraulic fluid under 3,000 pounds per square inch sprayed across electrical panels, igniting arc fires. Coolant lines ruptured, releasing toxic vapors. The failsafe systems snapped offline. Inside their launch cells, 8 Kalibr cruise missiles, each valued in the millions, remained intact but inert. Without functioning hydraulics or safety locks, they could not be raised, armed, or fired. The corvette, once a Predator, was now toothless. 8 silent Kalibrs sat in their tubes, as useless as dead weight. A $500 million warship, stripped of its sting, drifted helplessly under the dawn sky. The takedown was complete. The once feared Buyan-M-class corvette limped back toward port, its silhouette unrecognizable. Black smoke poured from ruptured compartments. The hull, scorched